tour down under's about to start. So, well, South Australia's pretty excited about it. So it'll be good.
Yeah, there, Andy.
Yes. Oh yeah. I'm just
Where
talking away.
from? West Coast, East Coast?
I'm not talking to them.
So Sydney, East, which is the East Coast.
Yeah.
But you
I
can't
traveled through Sydney once.
you can't turn push to talk off or the RGT voice off.
That's great, thanks.
Um,
Okay, well, I'll come in at 1 minute
oh,
again,
voice.
okay?
Yes. Let me turn it
Oh,
off.
see.
There you go. It's off.
That's great. That stops the background.
Yep. Right, I'm going to remove the title image now.
Okay, welcome everybody to stage 4 of the Tour du Monde 2023 edition. We've had 3 stages previous to this one, and last night's edition, the flat course, threw up a new winner. Just a moment. Andy, I'm receiving a lot of voices in my headphones. Is there anything we can do about that?
I'm not. There's nothing on my end.
Okay.
It's probably you'll need to turn your RGT voice off.
Okay.
So if you go onto voice option and then off. Otherwise, you'll get a lot of commentary coming through.
Okay, the race has started.
Let's go to the front.
Now this is going to be an interesting start, because you can see from the profile it's slightly downhill for a short distance, but then kicks up quite dramatically. And I think this is the kind of profile that lends itself to breakaways. But we'll see what happens. I do expect this group to thin out by the time they get to that steep red section you can see on your screens. That's the first major climb. Now there are 2 climbs on this course with a little bit of a rolling section between them. And I think that's going to determine the outcome, because anybody that's away by the time they crest the second climb, I don't think they'll get caught. If you look at the profile, there's a nice downhill section. So the teams and members need to be watching for anybody trying to go off the front. We'll see how it plays out. I was sort of half right last night when I said that we'd probably end up with a winner not amongst the main contenders, and that proved to be the case. And we could also see that happening on this stage. We could see a breakaway happening, and then another non-GC main competitor taking the stage. Now, I spoke quite openly yesterday about team tactics and how they would play a part in the stage, with it being a flat stage and with there being multiple teams having plenty of riders. For example, Pedalers, Raciel Racing, Team 3R, Moon Riders. And you can see that they've got a big turnout at the front of this group already. But yesterday, the team tactics didn't work out the way that I envisaged, and that really surprised me, to be honest, because it was a perfect stage for team tactics. My guess is that maybe the main contenders were sort of like saving themselves for like closer and further into the race. So my guess is that we may well see team tactics today, but we're not really going to know that until we get into this second climb, I think, and then maybe we might see team tactics playing out. Now we're watching the front group, and what have we got here? We've got 4, 8, 12. Well, we had 12 in this front group, but we're now being joined by a few more riders, and in fact, if we can just drop down this group a little bit, let's have a look and see what the gap behind them is. So what we got? It's not yet split. So while the riders are certainly stringing out, I don't think it's yet split the pack as much as I expect it to.
Okay.
I think we'll see a further thinning down of this group the further we get into this climb, and certainly by the time we get onto the second, I imagine we're going to be looking at a small group of maybe 12 riders maximum by the time we do get to the crucial part of the race. But we'll see what happens. The nice thing for us watching is that many of the teams, as you can see, Moon Riders, I can count 5 Moon Riders in this front group. I can count 1, 2, 3, 4 pedalers, multiple Rasio racing riders. Yeah. Now, who's that going off the front? That's Christophe Contant. Now, a very interesting fact here is that Christophe is riding multiple time slots. So he must be feeling really good. He must have very good legs to be able to do that. Because I asked the question, well, were his earlier efforts just a case of him looking at the course? And that was not the case. The case is that he was actually pushing maximum effort in his earlier time slot. So to come along and do 2 time slots a day is pretty impressive riding. So he must be feeling really, really good. Will it pay off today? Because Christophe is pretty high up in the overall. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, pedalers are leading the team contest at the moment, I believe. In fact, I'm pretty sure they are.
Yeah.
And they've also got 4, 5 riders right at the top of the leaderboard. But you can clearly see that other teams here are giving them a run for the money. Poker Motion we've got here, as I say, Moon Riders. OTR are there as well. So they're not going to have it all their own way, that's for sure. And you can see from the Rasio turnout today that I think they're going to try and maybe implement some team tactics too. So that could play a part today. I got it totally wrong yesterday. I genuinely thought that with teams having 4 or 5 riders, they would sort of play out the team tactics yesterday, but that didn't happen. And I found that quite surprising. But like I say, maybe there was a good reason for that, and we'll find out what that good reason is today. Now, there's a slight interruption to the service, I'm afraid, on screen. Andy will get back to you in a minute. There we go. So we're still looking at this front group, which looks to be about 20 strong. Who's that jumping off the front? We've got Keith from OTR. He's not trying to break away here, folks. He's basically just wanting to push the pace along. He's got a couple of teammates behind him in this group, so yeah, he's just wanting to push the pace along a little. This isn't a genuine effort to try and break away. You can see that from, although he's putting out some really good wattage, I don't think Keith is trying to make a break for it here. I think he's just wanting to try and trim the group down, which is a valid tactic if you've got multiple riders to back you up. But the group behind are not panicking, they're just taking it nice and steady. They're not really chasing, although Kerpel from Race 3R, who's a rider that I'm really getting to enjoy watching in this tour, because he's always there or thereabouts. He's decided to try and come across the gap, and he's bringing the rest of the riders with him. So you can see the Team 3R just on the front of this group we're watching now, and obviously that's Keith up front. So they're keeping him within spitting distance. He's only got 25 metres at the moment, and that's nothing to worry about, as we see Rowbottom taking up second spot. But I don't really think this first hill is consequential in the race overall. What's going to determine it for me is the second hill. I do think we'll see a large group staying together on the next downhill sections leading into that second climb. Now once we get onto the second climb, you can see that it goes up pretty steeply, but then you get onto that plateau and then it's all downhill for about 10 kilometres. So maybe a bit less, but about 10 kilometres downhill. And certainly it's sort of like a downhill rolling profile, with the exception of a very short climb in the last sort of like fifth of the race. So my guess is that anybody that's away, by the time they get to the top of the second climb, will stay away. I don't see them being caught. But, you know, I've got it wrong before, but we'll see how it plays out. I'm just calling it the way I see it in terms of what I've witnessed in the past. And certainly I've covered, this is now my third time covering the Tour du Monde, the 2021, 2022 and 2023 versions. So I think it goes without saying, I've seen plenty of tactics in those 3 years. Now, whoa, and there goes a rider off the front. Now, who's that? That's Doug. Now, Doug was doing a few digs, you might remember, yesterday, on a course that really suited him, and I'm surprised actually that pedalers took a full group of 20 riders into yesterday's finish when they had 4 riders in the group. That really shocked me. But maybe they've got tactics today. Maybe the tactic that I thought they would employ yesterday is going to come into force today. I mean, Doug's now got a 30-metre gap. They're pegging him at that. He's not pulling it out anymore. So they are keeping an eye on Doug here to make sure that he doesn't get too much. And in fact, they are slowly reeling him in here, with Walter Klaus doing some of the work to pull him back. I mean, we've got all the top contenders here towards the front of this race, and they've pulled the gap back now to about 27 metres on Doug. They're really hammering, because as I say, they can't afford to let a rider get away at this stage, going into the second climb. My guess is by the bottom of the climb, they'll more or less all be together again. And then the real fun is going to start on this next climb. And once again, folks, apologies to the riders behind, but we do tend to stay with the front of the action when it's exciting like this. It's not that we don't appreciate the riders further down the field. We will find time to have a look and see what's happening there once we're over this second hill. But I think for the time being, it just makes sense to stay with where the action is. As they bring Doug back now, you can see they've got it down to 13 metres. So nobody panicked. They worked well together. I have to say, Wouter Klaas, who's a very classy rider for Moon Riders, has done the majority of the work here, pulling this group back, ably assisted by Peter Brook-Ravel. And Wouter's the kind of rider that will sit on, well, he's doing exactly that. If you just move forward a bit, Andy, you can see that Wouter immediately, rather than going past Doug, sat on his wheel. And that's a really good tactic. Don't waste your energy early on. Just pull back the brake and then sit in. So all back together, as I said, coming into the bottom of the second climb. This is exactly how I envisage it working out. I mean, Peter's Brook-Ravel, the OTR rider at the front, not trying to break away, just simply keeping the pace high. Very interesting group here. All the main contenders, as I said, are here. Henrik Maad, who I think is currently, prior to today's earlier runnings of the stage, I think was leading the classification, Henrik. But I think he's been overtaken by the riders that went off at lunchtime at the moment. Now, one of the things that I said, 8.9 watt kilo put out by Wince here, who's a rider I don't know anything about, but he's going into the red here, putting out some good figures to try and make a break. Let's see how long he can keep this going. He's pulled out a 50-metre gap and still in the red, so he's pushing off the front here. And the group behind can't afford to let him get a big gap. I think they'll keep an eye on him. They'll manage it. I can't see them letting any rider really go at this point, as Wince is forced to drop his watt kilos slightly and drop out of the red, but still maintaining his 50-metre gap. Now, as I say, I don't see Wince running away from the group here. I think they'll just watch him, make sure the gap doesn't get out of hand. I think if a strong rider got to the top of this climb with a 100-metre gap, there's a very likely chance that he could maintain it. But I don't see a solo rider being allowed to do that. And in fact, they're keeping a close eye on him here. And if it's only a 50-metre gap, a group will pull that back. It gets steeper here, as you can see, and in fact, it looks like Wince has got a problem.
Technical.
This is a shame. No, is he off again? No, he's got a problem.
That's a shame.
He's been left behind. I don't know what happened there, folks, and that is such a shame to see when you see a rider leading the field and then having to pull over. So we get another new rider, Cops, on the front, leading a small group of what we got here, 7 riders. Have we got more? Let's just go down the field and have a look and see how many have we got. Yeah, we've got 7 riders at the front, with John Beams just off the pace. Now, if John can stay within touching distance, he's 20 metres behind. I don't see John losing it here. I think he's just pacing himself. But he needs to make sure they don't get too big a gap, because that front group will hammer it down the downhill if they're all together. So John needs to try and get back on the wheels here before they get to the top. I think he will do so. Who's that behind him? Moonrider's rider. Let's just have a look.
Simmons.
That's Simons, the Spanish rider. And if he pulls John along, come on, dig deep, John.
And then you got Keith. Keith's catching up. So Keith may be able to bring them along.
And then we've got Keith just behind, as Andy's just alluded to. So Keith from OTR is also trying to make the gap, and he's got Shapers, the Vasio Racing rider, just behind him. So interesting dynamic. And then if we just have a quick look behind them, you can see that Peter Brook-Ravel and Doug Hart are also not far off the front. Now, as I say, if it's only about 50 metres, that's closable. But if it gets to over 50 metres, some of these riders off the back could really struggle. We've seen in past events that even a group of 6 or 8 riders working together on a downhill can very quickly get out of touch from riders that are 50, 60, 70 metres behind. So the gap needs to be less than that if you want to close it. And Solly, the winner of yesterday's stage, I mean, that was an amazing win that he took yesterday. I was very, very impressed with it. And I said it wasn't one of the main contenders for the overall, but I think Solly is a strong rider, and I think he's putting himself in contention if he has a good ride today. He needs to get back to the 2 riders in front of him. And who's this chasing him? He's got, I think that's Sam Hutt that's chasing him.
Yep.
So yeah, Solly's got his teammate Rowbottom behind, and then Sam Hutt is chasing Rowbottom. Let's go back to the front though, please, Andy, and see what's happening there, because I think this is going to be the exciting bit as they get towards the top. We don't want to really be seeing, well, maybe we do want to be seeing, but you can clearly see that Henrik and Cox, and Henrik Mad is doing a really sensible thing here. He's sitting on the wheel. He's basically decided that's the place to be. Just keep an eye on that rider in front of him, sit on the wheel, and Wouter is 30 odd metres behind, pulling the group up behind. But the danger is that Wouter is pulling along Daniel Schock with him. So that's 2 Moon Riders following on behind. DeLoyne has joined them, so these 3 can work together to try and pull back Henrik Mad and Cops. But I say again, folks, I know for a fact that if Henrik Mad has got a 50, 60 metre lead going over the top of this climb, I don't think he'll get caught. I mean, it's a long way to the finish, but let's see how it plays out. What's the gap at the gap at the moment?
70
is 70
metres.
meters.
Yep.
It depends how well the groups behind are prepared to work. If they come together and they really, do the chasing through and off and take fair turns, then it certainly is possible to pull a gap like this back.
But you've only got those 3 riders
Yeah.
together.
So I'll be honest, I don't think 3 is enough, Andy,
No,
to pull back
you need
Henrik and
Christoph.
Cops on the front.
Yeah, you need Christoph.
Do you
to come
agree with
through.
me?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I don't think 3 riders is going to be enough. Now, if there were six or more possible working through and off, but I just, because I genuinely believe that Cops and Mad will work well together. I think Henrik will do his fair share of pulling once they get over this climb. I mean, Henrik is doing the sensible thing, and just because he wants to win the stage, Henrik is simply sitting on Cops' wheel, probably hoping that some of his teammates can come up through the field and join him. I don't think that's going to happen. I think this is a race for Henrik to lose now. I think he'll keep an eye on Cops, work with him on the downhill sections, or on the flat and on the downhill. He has to take turns on the front, though. He can't leave Cops to do the work once they get over this climb, because if he does, they're not going to stay away. Yeah, and here he is. Henrik's doing his fair turn on the front now. Just switch to the front and just watch them, Andy. But Henrik is now, saying to Cops, "Come on, I'm going to do some work with you." And that's what he needs to do. He can't afford to just sit in behind Cops and wait, hoping that they're joined by some of his teammates. His teammates are out of it. He has to go himself now. And there he is. I think he's going to work with Cops. Is looking very, very strong, though. At the moment, he's looking stronger than Henrik is. But we all know that, Mad is a very, very cagey and very clever rider, which is why he's won so many stages. Now, I'm pretty sure it's Igor Cops. I think his first name's Igor, and I believe we saw him last year in the tour. I'm not sure whether he won a stage, but I know I saw a very strong performance from him. So he is a class rider, and one which I'm sure won't be allowed to sort of like take off and be left with a few meters. Okay, let's have a look and see what's happening behind them, though. We'll leave these two to it, because I genuinely think they're going to stay together for quite a while. So now, the gap is 200 meters.
Yep.
Plus. Or I say 200 meters, they've just pulled it back to under. But look what's happening with these 3 riders that are chasing. They're already not working really well together. Daniel is getting on the wheel of his teammate Klaus, but they really need to work together here, through and off. Wouter can't afford to sit on DeLoyne's wheel all the time. He has to do his turn on the front. There he is, he's going through and off now. That's good. And this is what they need to do if they want to stand any chance of closing the gap. But I just don't think it's going to happen. And in fact, the gap is going out. You can see it's gone out to 226 meters. Now, we'll come back to this gap and we'll keep an eye on this later, but we're going to move further down the field and have a look and see what's happening behind. So who's chasing these 3 and how far behind are they? We've got Xander, we've got John Beams. I'm surprised to see John dropped at this stage. We've got Christoph content there. There seems to be a glitch in the software at the moment. You can see the riders doing 180s on the road.
Yep.
I think that's just a glitch in the software.
Mm. Yeah, when we were doing the finals for the OTR Love Team Time Trial Series Season 3, on the final, which was in Belgium, you had teams doing that 8-9 times.
Wow, that's not good, is it? Because it must be distracting for the riders as well.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, we saw John just go off the front slightly, which is not something I think he wanted to do, and I think it was because of the 180 that he was being forced to do in the software.
Mm-hmm.
So they are working really well together now, are these riders, but they're 430 metres behind Klaus de Lloyd and the other rider in front. That's closable, but because there are only 4 riders, it's a very tough ask.
Yeah, and the other
Have a look
group behind them are 230 metres.
I was just about to ask, can we have a look at the group behind? Now, Doug Hart is trying to come across the gap. You can see here, he's putting in a good effort now to try and come across. He's closed it down to in fact, he is coming across. He's Doug. He's actually bringing the distance down, look. So, can he pull across? It would have been nice if Peter and Shapers could have joined him. They're just behind him, for the 3 of them to work together. But you see, this is why I say that generally, I mean, they have pulled this gap back. That's wonderful riding by Peter.
Yeah.
I think you have to take your hat off to Peter there. That was fantastic riding to come and work with Doug here. So they need to stay together, though. I know it's difficult. They do need to work together and stay together. Come on, lads. Let's see a good concerted effort here to pull back this gap. In terms of excitement for the stage, it would be really nice if we could get, shall we say, 1 or 2 groups together near the front.
Yeah, if Doug can close that gap, you've then got 3 pedallers in Group 2.
Yeah, which could be significant. But the truth is that it's out to 200, it's just under 200 metres now. So they're making small inroads, and then it's been snatched back away from them. I don't know what to call here. My common sense tells me they're not going to close this gap.
No.
But we'll see. It all depends on the strength of the riders in front of them and how much work they're prepared to put in as well. So let's have a look a bit further down the field, and we'll come back to this, Andy. Let's see who's behind them.
So Keith's
Keith.
behind.
Okay, and how far's Keith? No, Keith's out of it.
Yep.
He's 400 metres behind, and while he's a rider with incredible heart, he's not going to pull that back. Certainly not working on his own, and he's not going to ease up and let riders behind him close up without a fight. There's 2 riders behind him, which we'll just have a look at. In fact, there's 3 riders behind him: Rocket Roy Neild, Mark Robotham, and Solly. Are working together behind him. The 2 Rassio racers are trying to pull away from Solly, but they're not going to catch. I'm saying they're not. They've got it down to 80 metres. So maybe if they catch Keith and the 4 of them work together, anything's possible. But let's move further down the field and have a look a bit further back. What we got here, we've got Samut, Legion and Linden. Now these 3 riders are again another 260 metres. So riders all over the road, which is exactly how I called it. This kind of profile leads itself to small groups, breaking away and breaking up. So moving further back, we've got, what have we got? Let's have a look. We've got Tim Moss from Southern District Wheelers. We've got Roger Hughes from OTR. And we've got, I think it's Daniel Vermont from Moonriders.
Yep.
And what are they? They're 400 metres behind. So again, likely to hold their positions, but not likely to close the gap. You see, this section of the route, Andy, I don't think you're going to see many changes in positions. It's too fast.
Yes. Especially
you're
with
not
that
going to see
dark
to
blue
in and
section.
fro in, I don't think. So let's check a bit further back and see what's happening. Another group of 4 riders. This time we've got Donaldson, Kerpel, Holder, the Australian, and Paul Newton. So 2 race for our guys in this group, and they're 240 meters behind the riders in front. Now, as we check on some of these riders a bit later on in the footage, we'll see whether any of them have changed places in terms of these small groups, but as me and Andy have just alluded to, I think it's unlikely. I think when you're talking about a 250 meter gap, give or take 10 or 20 meters, you're looking at status quo. So let's have a look at the next group on the road behind them. And what can we see here? Is it just the 2? Yes, it's just the 2 riders. So you've got Tony Simmons, the OTR rider, and you've got Jan Janssens, the Belgian from Pedlers. So we've got Pedlers all over the road and OTR all over the road at the moment.
Next one.
And moving back behind them, we've got another Pedlers giving me a wave, Daniel Neugebauer. And it does look like Daniel is in nowhere land. He's riding on his own, and I think it's safe to say he's going to stay on his own unless he eases up, which common sense says with such a big gap over the rider behind, I don't think we'll see him doing. He's 430 metres in front of the rider behind, but too far behind Janssens and Simmons, I think, to catch them. So behind Neugebauer, we've got Smedley. And Smedley is another rider the same as Neugebauer, who's in nowhere land. He's just in the middle, not going to go anywhere. I see that staying status quo as well. And the same goes, we're going to go one further down, the OTO rider, Soderberg. Again, I think status quo. I think he'll have his solo place here.
Yeah, he's had some technicals though.
Yes, yeah. Do we know what happened to the rider? Forget his name now. The one that pulled over at the side of the road while leading.
It kicked him out.
It kicked him out.
Yep.
That's such a shame. Okay, so we've got this group. They're chasing Soderberg, and because there's 5, 6 of them, yeah, we could see a catch here. This is possible. When you've got a small, fast-moving group like this, they can close distances pretty quickly. So they could catch Soderberg. I'm not going to count that out.
Well, you
We'll
got
have to wait and see.
Nestor's there, so he's Pear's teammate.
He's his teammate.
Yep.
Okay, well, he'll be sitting in then, won't he?
So I don't know why he's second.
Okay. Yeah.
Unless he's there to help Pear out. But they're 290 metres.
Which is kind of the distance where, unless they really put in a big effort, they're not going to close. So let's have a look and see what's happening behind them. Moving further back. So what we got here? We got 3 riders, is it? Another 3R rider,
Yeah,
Evan
Evan.
Oystensen,
Yep.
Hannenberg, the Dutch rider, and the Scottish rider, O'Malley. And they look to be working well together, taking turns through and off. It's always nice to see when you see riders that, and this is the halfway point they're at now, it's always nice to see riders when they do work well together. All doing a fair share.
Yeah, we were on ZRL yesterday, and I paired up with 2 others, and one of them just didn't want to work. And we were doing 5 watts per kilo on the front,
Oh,
and yeah, he was just sitting in.
And what happened? Did he take you further in the race?
Yep.
Yeah, that's naughty, you see. I mean, I can see the tactic we're sitting in, but yeah.
Yeah, he just sat there. We even
Yeah.
slowed down quite a bit to try and get him to get in front, but he just pulled up again, and then
Yeah.
right at the end we had 4Ks to go, and we went for it on the hill.
And you know it's gonna. The sad
Yes,
thing is,
you know
it's gonna happen, don't you?
Yep.
And there's nothing you can do about it when that happens. You know, it's yeah. I've actually done a video on it during my commentary. I've done a video on this happening because when I was racing, I was taking part in the beginner series, the 3.2 watt capped series, and it was happening quite a lot there. You would get riders that were sitting in, wouldn't do any work, and they were far stronger than what they're making themselves out to be, and then they would just take it in the sprint.
Yep.
Anyway, let's have a look and see what's happening further back. Oh, look at this. We got a OTR wave. We got Paul Pudell, James Ogilvy, the captain, and Paul Austin. And they're joined by Ploiter and DeWard. Nice. So they're bringing up they're inside the top 50, but inside the top 45.
James did
But
an incredible one yesterday, though. He was 108.
Sorry?
James was incredible yesterday with 108.
For the stage, yeah.
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 Fantastic.
Can we just go to the front, because I can see a bit of a gap happening on my feed. If we can just go back to the front and see what's happening there. If you press the middle button on the keyboard, we'll get there. Here we go. Yep, we're back at the front, and we've got Cops and Mad. Now the gap is 200 meters. And not being closed down. I mean, to be fair to the guys behind, they have pegged it. But what's interesting, and the reason why I wanted to come back to the front here, is because of the two riders, Cops is looking the stronger. Now, unless Henrik, no, here he goes. Henrik's doing his turn on the front. I was going to say, unless Henrik is just happy to sit, but watch what happens here. It looks to me like Henrik is going to the front. He's putting out 5 watt kilos. Cops is taking his recovery. Yeah, this is good. This is good riding from these two riders. It does look like they're both doing fair share of the work. I said Cops looks the stronger, but Henrik is looking really strong as well here. So this is going to be an interesting race, and it's going to get more interesting because the gap is actually coming down.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move to the group behind them, Andy. Wouter pulling them along. Well, that's no surprise. He's got Daniel with him, Daniel Schock. Now this is dangerous. Yes, Mad and Cops are sort of like well aware of the gap, and in fact they're pushing it back up again at the moment. But if these riders can get it within a manageable distance coming into the finish, there's no reason why they can't close it down. But I don't think it's going to, I still maintain I don't think it's going to happen. I think Cops and Mad, in fact, as I say that, they're pulling out an even bigger gap. So I think they're keeping an eye themselves. They'll be watching the left-hand side of the screen like I'm doing, and the distance to the riders behind. And they'll be tempering their efforts to make sure that the gap doesn't come down to like the 150 mark. Because if it got down to about 150 meters, there's every possibility they could be caught. But they've now opened up the gap. These riders behind, these 3 riders, 270 meters now. And while they are working incredibly well together, as you can see, I don't see them closing that gap. So I think the battle on here is going to be for third place. Two Moon Riders and the Belgium, no idea who's going to take that battle. We'll get back to it later. Let's move a little bit further down the field and see what's happening behind them. In fact, Andy's already done that for me. Thank you, Andy. So who have we got behind? We've got John Beams, we've got Doug Hart, and we've got, who's the third rider? Christoph. So we've got 3 pedalers and 1 Moon Rider and 1 Xander person. Now, has he joined this group? I didn't recognise his name earlier. But these 3 riders from pedalers, you can see really trying to make inroads. But sadly, they're out of it. The top 5 has already been determined. And these 5 riders are basically fighting for 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th place. They're not going to catch the group in front. So what's happening behind them? We've got Peter and Shapers working well together. And they're 290 meters behind. Status quo, I think, there as well.
Yep.
And it looks like they've, like Solly is in nowhere land. He's too far behind Shapers and Brook Ravel. 50 odd meters in front of Rocket Roy Neil. So that could be closed up.
Yeah, but Rocket Roy's pushed up from the previous group because he was with Keith.
So if he joins Shapers, they could stay away from the previous group of Keith here, just behind. So let's just go to the Keith group and have a look and see what's happening there. There they are. They're trying. Oh, they're pulling Rocket Roy back.
Yep.
This is good riding. The white GBR shirts. What team is that, Andy? Is that Pokemotion?
I didn't think Pokemotion were GBR.
Okay,
But it is
I don't know who
Poco.
they are then.
So Lyndon's there.
Yeah, what team does Lyndon ride? Oh, Lyndon rides for Pokemotion.
Yeah, so it must be.
So it must be. Yeah, they must be wearing the GBR jerseys.
Because they're on the same bikes with the same helmets.
Yeah. But this has been incredible from this small group to pull back. To pull back this gap like they've done and all join up together, that's pretty amazing. They're only just off the wheel of who's that in front of them? Solly. So they've done well to pull that gap back. It was 50 meters, and they're almost there now. And of course, the workhorse Keith is is pulling them along.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things, and yes, he's an OTR rider, so I'm biased, but one of the things about Keith that you have to admire is how many times do you see him working for others?
Yeah.
He's not looking for his own personal glory. He works tirelessly for other members of his team.
He does. Yeah, I did the Hare and Hound race before Christmas. And I won that.
Yeah?
I don't know how.
Hey.
But you could see Keith and the OTR Black, so Nestor and Pear, all really, really pushing hard. But I got to Gordon and James and just continued.
Yeah.
Went past
Good
Shane.
win then.
Because so they've increased my time, so I don't get much of a gap.
But one of the things you have to admire with again with the OTR boys is, and especially James has got a very solid race acumen.
Yes.
Really knows the tactics. And you've probably done it as along with me, but if you've ever listened to their race commentary, Andy, when they're doing the team time trials, Gordon Jackson, and mostly James, I would say, are the two riders that sort of like determine what's going on in the field. And you really see their race acumen coming through, you know, just how clued up they are.
Yeah, the impressive team from OTR Love, the impressive team that I found from a DC perspective was AESRT. And their DS was incredible. It was like just shouting out orders like, you're going to the front, you're going to the front, you're going to the front, ease, get to the front.
Talking about getting to the front, sorry to interrupt you, let's get to the front now. Action is happening. Okay, 300 metres. 300 metres off the front. And these two riders, 3.3 kilometres to go. So we're going to stay with this, Andy. We're going to stay with these two and watch them battle it out, and then we'll catch up on the small group behind. Now they've got this in the bag. The two, all right, the gap has been pulled back slightly, but this is in the bag. Who's your money on?
Mad.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, but I have to say, and I'm sure peddlers will understand where I'm coming from, in terms of the GC, I'd like to see Cops take it. And shake up the GC slightly, because at the moment peddlers are running away with it.
Yeah, because OTR Black have gone down to third place.
Yeah.
In GC for the
Who's
team
in
competition.
second at the moment?
To be honest, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I can't recall either.
Let me find out.
But you know, going back to what we were talking about DSs.
Yep.
You mentioned DSs, but one of the best DSs, and I can't for the life of me remember his name, but you will, is your OTR DS. Is it Tom? When I was racing for Race 3R, and obviously I was way down the order in the D team, but the lad that was doing the DSing for the A plus team was out of this world. I mean, his tactics and his organising of the team.
Yep.
And his name just escapes me, but he's one of the top riders in Race 3R.
Okay. Yeah, I
will get his name.
I don't race for 3R on Swift Racing League. I race for Wahoo Le Col.
Okay.
But I did the DS for season 2 with True 2, and they won OTR Love season 2 after No Pins won season 1.
Yeah.
So that was
I'm
incredible.
pretty sure that this guy was the DS during the No Pins win of season 1. I'll get his name for you. By the time we do the next broadcast, I'll get his name for you. Okay, so 1.5 kilometers to go, and these two are still duking it out. Now, are they going to play tactics, or are they both going to just go full gas? Let's see what happens here. I mean, Cops is just sitting in. Look at the difference in watt kilos between the guy on the front and the guy that sits in. I mean, it's not happening at the moment, but when you see them get, one rider get behind the other, you can see the difference. And it's as much as 3 watt kilos difference. Okay, less than a kilometre to go under the red kite. Here we go, folks.
So Tim Cook does quite a lot of racing for VCN TT. So
It is Tim Cook.
yeah, okay. So he's
I
really,
think-
really good.
Okay, let's see what happens here. 500 meters, folks. Here we go. Now you can see from the watt kilos, they haven't yet opened up. Not opened up yet. Wait until the numbers go red, which they will do in about 100 meters, I reckon. Henrik just sort of, now he's going red.
And it's,
Henrik into the red,
and it's uphill.
6.6 watt kilos,
Yeah.
11.2, 14 watt kilos
He's
from
won it.
Cops. Cops is going to take it. What a finish!
Excellent.
Huge watts. 14.1 watt kilos he touched there
Wow.
to come over the line. Fantastic effort. Okay, let's see what happens behind. Now then, who's going to get third spot? There's Wouter, DeLoying and Schock.
I think they've just settled.
I think they have, yeah. They don't look like they're fighting for it, do they?
No.
So Wouter takes third spot, DeLoying second, fourth, and Schock fifth spot. Okay, let's quickly have a look and see. Two riders just gone under the banner. That's Doug Hart and Xander Persson, who I don't know. So I'm going to do a little bit of research on Xander and find out. Doug definitely wants this sixth spot, and it does look like he's getting it. But Xander Persson's not out of it, as Doug does tend to go early. Now, has he gone too early? If Xander gets on his wheel, he could come around him, but Doug's making sure he doesn't get on his wheel. But can he do it? Can he pull it out?
He's coming back.
He's coming back, innit? He's going to take him, you know. Doug
early.
will be gutted.
Yeah.
He'll be, trust me, he will. He'll be gutted with that. He thought he could go for the long one. He's not a sprinter, Doug. He's an out-and-out time trialist. So well done to Xander.
Yep.
Person. That was good tactics from him. He'd never panicked. And Doug, obviously, just coming over the line now. Well done, Mr. Hart. Okay, who's behind him? Simons. Just crossing the line.
Yep.
Christoph Contant. And then John Beams in 10th spot. So that's pretty low down the order for John. And then we've got Peter and Shapers. And Shapers just takes Peter on the line. Then we've got a battle for 13th spot between Rowbottom, Keith, Lejean, Zolly, and who's the other rider? Samut. So, can Keith take a spot here?
It'd be nice, but I don't think so.
Oh, is Lejean the dark horse amongst this group? No, Solly's having none of it.
Yeah.
He's away. Is Solly going to get it? Or
No.
is Lejean? No, Lejean's
No.
going to take him just on the line.
Yep.
Or is he? Yes, just
Yep.
on the line. Well done. Cracking racing.
Shame Keith didn't. But
No, I don't think Keith had much. He did his work.
yes.
Keith did his work. He didn't have much left.
Awesome.
So Linden from Poco coming over the line. And then we've got a battle. What we got? 5 riders. Paul Newton, Kerpel, Hughes, Moss, and who's the other Vermont, the other moon rider. So, what's
So-
going to happen here?
Paul or Simon?
300 meters.
I would go with Paul.
Paul Newton.
Yep.
I'm going to go with Kerpel. I know he's on the front now, but I think he'll sit in and.
Oh no.
Oh, Tim's going for it.
Awesome.
Roger Hughes is going for it. Who's going to get it? Oh, it looked like a dead heat.
Yeah.
It looked like a dead heat. Wow, what good racing. Okay, Janssens has broken away from the Simmons. So he's going to come in 25th place. I don't know about you, Andy, but I've really enjoyed this stage because it was different. Because it wasn't so much about the favourites. It was always going to be open to other riders. And while Henrik took the win. Got second spot and up in the other riders were fairly low down the order, so a bit of a swap around.
Yep.
We watched Janssens coming over the line.
Yep. And then
Simmons. Tony. Mr. Holder.
Out and in.
That's a good ride from him, you know. I think, is this the first time we've seen him?
No, he was.
I think it's the first time I've commentated on him, though. So this has been a good ride. He's putting a good effort here.
But he's only doing 1.3 watts per kilo.
What's he got? 120 meters. Can he keep his position, or is he going to get caught?
I think he'll keep it with 180 meters behind.
70. Yeah, he should do. There's a group of, I think, 5 or 6 riders chasing him, but I think he's going to get there.
Yeah, Nogpower's going to be very close.
It's going to be very close. They're down to what? 70?
Go on, get over the line. Get over the line.
Come on.
He's done it. And then you'll see this.
Just Daniel Neugebauer just behind him.
Super.
And who have we got? Mitu Toya. Can't pronounce that name. And Smedley's trying to catch him.
Ooh, unlucky.
Yeah, just got there. Well done, Smedley. Hamilton.
Can he close that? No. He's doing 13.
Right.
He'll close it.
Oh no, he's just
He
just held it. Oh no, he hasn't.
He's closed it.
Arhen, what a good ride. What a great ride from Arhen. Evan Oyston's coming over the line, Wince. Yeah, great ride. Well done.
That was superb.
Okay, so we got O'Malley. Or have we? Am I missing somebody here? Have we got?
Nope. You got O'Malley.
Okay, and then Lake. O'Malley's just crossed the line, and then we got Lake, haven't we?
Yep.
And he's on his own with Hannenberg, the next rider to come over the line, 100 metres behind. Then I think we've got another group of 4 chasing Hannenberg. They're not going to catch him, so he's going to get to the line. No, it's a group of 2 actually. Here we go. Ploiter and Paul Pudell. And Ploiter takes it from Paul.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the other
Peter.
OTR rider, Mr. Austin.
Yep. Superb.
Just coming over the line. Well done. Good
And then
ride. And
James.
here's James.
Well
That's
done,
a
James.
good ride from James as well, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, well done, James.
If we look at the
Okay,
battle.
Mr. Warren from Southern District Wheelers.
So he doesn't look as though he's going to get. Caught.
60 metre. He's going to get it, isn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. He's going to stay away. Yeah. And then who's behind him? Soderberg is just behind him. Dola, Weston and Penn in that order.
Yep.
Now this is a rider that I've hardly barely commentated on him apart from the first stage, Kujewski, and he's a very talented rider. So I don't know whether he's had problems or whether he's just not got the legs this tour. As we watched Diwal come in, sorry I missed him. Van Beers, the first of the Van Beers, followed by Plager. from Rasio Racing coming in, so they're coming in together. But yeah, Krajewski, I'm just shocked that he's not been more prominent. Rob Miller coming in 52nd place.
Yeah, nice, Rob.
Well done, Rob. Christine, I think this is our first lady over the line.
Yes.
And then Gordon Jackson keeping her company. Now, is Gordon going to take... Yeah, he's going to take the lead from Christine. Now, you could have let her have it, Gordon. Come on. No, all's fair in love and war. Here we go. Well done, Gordon. And then Christine. And this is the first lady, I'm pretty sure, over the line.
Yeah, good on her.
DiCarli. Just about to cross the line. And then who we got? We got two riders fighting it out, Siega and Jones. USA versus Great Britain. My money's on the Brit.
Yes. Come on, Jones. You can do it. Come on. You can do it. Yes, yes.
Yes,
Awesome.
he's got it. But isn't it nice to see these battles going on further down the field?
Yep.
You know, this is one of the reasons why I really enjoy staying with the action. Leon just crossing the line behind. And Portuguese rider Quirino.
Yeah, so you got... Are they going to close the gap or not?
How far behind are they?
50
50
metres.
metres.
No.
Oh, they could catch him. Because, what is it, a group of 4 or 5?
Yeah, but they're not putting in the watts.
No, they're doing similar watts, aren't they? So he's going to get this.
Yep.
Yeah, he's going to cross the lane. Not far, though, not far off. They've closed it slightly. So Quirino goes over the line. Hall, Cavalis from Rasio. They don't seem to be racing. Stonehouse. And then who's behind them? Now then, Solly. And this is the lady Solly. Whether they're a couple or not, I don't know.
Come on, Solly. You're doing it. Yes.
Looking very strong.
Yep.
9.3 watt kilos. Wow. What a strong finish from this lady. A very strong finish. Very impressed, Solly. Well done. And Karuva's coming in. And then we have a battle. Oops, another glitch in the software. But then we have Mike, Redmond, and who's that behind? Bennett.
Adrian
Bennett.
Yep.
So come on, Aid. Let's see. Under the 1 kilometre, and they're flying. They're absolutely flying. Another glitch in the software.
Yeah. And another
But
one.
these riders are absolutely flying.
Well, Adrian's come on leaps and bounds with OTR Wicked.
Yeah. Well, he certainly looks strong. He looks the stronger of these 3, to be honest. He's doing a sensible thing and sitting in, getting a bit of recovery.
Yep.
And it does look like it's going to be a sprint between these 3. It looks like they're really going to go for it. Good racing, 300 metres.
Don't go too early.
Yeah, they're easing up slightly to allow Jans Doss to catch them, which could be a mistake. Wareham's the first to go. Wareham the first to go.
Yeah, he'll take it.
Yeah, he's got it, hasn't he? Yeah, Wareham gets it from
Oh, nice one, Adrian.
just from Mr. Redmond. And then Manx, who made the catch, probably put in too much of an effort making the catch. TFX, next rider to come in.
Yep.
And he's just ahead of Bird. Who have we got behind him? Sedlak. And then we've got a fairly big group. Well, I'm saying big group. I think we've got 6 riders here. Have we 5 riders?
6.
6. 6 riders, and it looks like these riders are going to contest the sprint as well. So my money, not my money, my hope is on the OTR rider because I'm biased, Mr. Morgan. Under the 1 kilometre to go banner. And looking good.
Yeah, Adam's another strong rider.
Now, who's going to get this one? Oh, come on, come on. Has he gone too early?
Too early.
Yeah.
Way too early.
That's too early. Way too early. But he's looking strong.
It's gonna
Is it
get caught.
Adrian? Adrian Morgan? Or is it Adam?
I thought it was Adam, but I could be
Yeah.
completely wrong. Oh.
I could be as well. We've got the 2 Germans working him over. Okay, it looks like IK is going to get it. Yep, from Nieborg, just in front of Morgan on the line. And then we got Goodlark, Anderson, and Bailey. And Jeff, just coming under the 1 kilometre to go banner. Looks like he's on his own. He's not going to get caught by a rider behind him, so he can basically afford to sit up, and in fact that's what he's doing. 1.4 watt kilos, so he's not really, although he is on the downhill section. No need to push, he can just relax and get into the finish. Come on, Manning, the saying, yep. Yeah, he's basically easing down this section here.
He's going to have to be quick because
He may get caught, he may pay for that, he may
Manning.
get caught. I think he's eased up too much. Look at Manning behind him.
Yep.
Manning's going to get him.
Yep.
Well done, Manning. Wow. What a catch that was.
that was a bad
I mean,
mistake.
he saw him easing up and just thought, okay, I'm going to have you. Well done, Manning. So, but I don't think Jeff is going to be caught by the next rider. That's for sure. I think he can safely hang on to his 80th place.
Yep.
But well done, Manning. Good tactics there. Yeah, it does look like Jeff is absolutely knackered. He's barely able to put Watson to cross the line. So he's probably absolutely knackered. But look at the red numbers behind. There's some big red numbers being put out. Whoa! Taylor goes storming past him.
Doesn't he just?
What a... Hey, there we go. And another rider goes past. And
another
Doyle.
one.
Ah, and Paul Nichols. There we go. What a
They're all
race.
going through.
And who's that behind him? Proctor? Yeah, well done.
Yeah.
Oh no, Lavelle. So 2 OTR riders coming in close together.
Yeah, it was Adam Morgan,
Adam Morgan, yeah.
who's in OTR Black.
I wasn't sure whether it was Adrian or Adam, but yeah, Adam rings a bell. Yeah.
Yeah. Adrian Bennett and Adam Morgan.
Yeah. I have a terrible short-term memory, Andy. Usually, I know last year when I was doing the commentary, I actually had to keep a notepad because of my poor memory. So, Mr. Cheeseman coming in.
Yep.
Then with a bit of a wait then to, who is it, Librex? The Dutch rider, just going under, although he's certainly not hanging about, just going under the kite. He's not going to get caught. He's safely got his spot on the GC. Excuse me. So, how many more riders have we got to come in, I wonder? Been a good turnout today.
Oh yes.
Very good turnout. Which is why this is my favourite event of all the events on RGT. And why I wanted to be able to help out.
It's incredible, isn't it?
Well, when you think about how many riders are actually taking part in the whole event as a whole, it's pretty impressive.
Mm.
Especially, but so Librex is just coming over the line. But I think you have to say that James is very astute there as well. You know, he runs this tour at the perfect time of year. When people are in the training cycle,
Yes.
or just finished the season. So I think he's very he's chosen the right time of year to run this race. Pereira, the Portuguese rider, also coming in nice and strong at the end. And then a bit of a gap to the riders behind. So we're going to have some largish gaps between the next series of riders, I think.
You got Shane. I think Shane might get it.
You think so?
No. Unfortunately. Hope more than anything else. It's just that.
Although he's closing the gap and he's putting in red figures.
Yeah, I know. That's right.
So Shane is definitely working hard here.
Yeah.
He's trying. You can't take that away from him.
Yeah, just.
So there's Pereira, and look at Shane.
Yeah.
This is a good finish.
Yes.
Only a few meters behind.
Yeah, very good.
Very good ride from Shane, that. Marshy. Now, I think this is a rider that used to take part in the Flemish series. So what we got? He's in no danger of being caught. He's a kilometre in front of the riders behind. So once again, I'm just looking down the list at what we've got. We've got 123, 170. Yeah. Don't know how many more finishers we've got to come in. What I'm going to try and do is, while you keep the action on the riders at the front, I'm going to work my way down the field and see how many more riders we've got, Andy.
Okay.
On my other screen. So Marsha just crossing the line now. And then Glez Duran is just going under the kite, as you can see. So let's just check riders further down the field. Yeah, I think we've got 6 more riders to come in. 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, after Glez Duran comes in, another 6 riders.
So, Wahoo RGT have helped me significantly. So I don't need my turbo here. Because they've given me bot access in a day.
Wow. well done for chasing it up. Obviously, somebody at their end is listening to us.
Yes.
So well done, RGT. Thank you for that. Because this is hard work. You have to understand the amount of work that Andy Widders is having to put in to bring you these broadcasts is immense. I know because I've done it when I was working with Damon and when I was doing it on my own. And it's an awful, awful lot of work. And I feel that a just reward is to give us those bots to work with. So thank you very much, RGT.
Yeah. And Derek's commentary is makes the difference. It's superb.
Thanks, Andy. As we watch Mr. Elliott, Steve Elliott coming in.
Yep.
And I think Steve is the last of the OTR riders if you discount me, but mine's a bot, so we won't count me in the running. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I'm
No,
beating
we got 7 riders. I said 6. We've got 7 riders left, Andy.
Yeah, I'm beating you. My bot's beating
Yeah,
your
you
bot.
are. Your bot is doing 2.6 watt kilos, which is way more than mine. Mine's only doing 0.7. Now, I don't know what you've set your bot's weight at, but my bot's weight is 300 kilograms,
Okay.
which is like almost 6 times my real weight.
Well,
Moment.
they've linked it to my subscription account, so it's on my weight, 78 kilos.
Ah, okay. Well, I have to adjust my weight and my FTP in order to stay at a low watt kilos.
Yeah.
Because as we watch Kaki's coming in, but yeah, I had to adjust, Andy, because I was finding that if I put anything like a realistic weight or a realistic watt kilos, I'm actually overtaking riders at the back.
Yes.
And I didn't want to do that.
Yeah, I came a cropper with that. Because I think
It's
my
happened to me a few
FTP.
times.
Yeah, my FTP is 306. So yeah.
So Kaki's
I'll
is
adjust
just
it.
coming over the line. And who have we got left? Mr. Frey just coming over the line.
Yep.
So 2 riders pretty close together there.
He's not going to get caught though.
And Brandy. Not far behind, but not close enough. And then I think we've got about a kilometre gap to the next rider, which is going to be Silvestre, the other Portuguese rider. Yeah, I going back to the commentary thing, Andy, I do think that RGT have really come on in leaps and bounds from where they were, just a year ago in terms of the package that they offer us. And I'm not talking now about the accounts and the bots. I'm talking about the overall package that they've implemented for people that want to spectate the rides and like we do, commentate or stream the rides.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. They did have a hiccup though with the Le Col series, and it angered quite a lot of the local teams. Dave Morrison was one of those that was affected because it affected his Wednesday rides.
Yes, I was a quiet part of that
Okay.
of that event, I must say, and yeah, I think personally speaking there that RGT got it wrong, but I would say 90% of the time they do a really, really good job. I just think on that particular occasion, maybe not so much. But having said that, it must be, to be fair to to the platform, it must be incredibly difficult when. Okay, we got one more rider to come in, and that's what. Oh, it looks like Wazik has actually
No, he's finished.
pulled over. Oh, he's finished.
Yeah.
So we got one more rider, and that's Zhang, who we watched yesterday from Southern District Wheelers. So 700 meters to go for Wang. I mean, your bot's really cruising here in front of him. So your bot's going to finish before Zhang does.
Yeah.
But
Won't-
yeah,
won't focus on that.
I think it must be incredibly difficult, you know, when there's so many events on Andy and they start to clash.
Yeah, but I think it's just going to get. There's going to be more, because RGT is the best platform if you want to do indoor cycling or indoor racing with an outdoor feel to it.
Yeah, because of the magic roads.
Well, the magic roads and the draft effect.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, the draft effect in RGT is completely different to Swift, as I'm sure you know, racing there.
Yep.
But there's no comparison.
Yeah, I prefer racing on RGT,
Yeah.
and with 3R Speedwagon, they're a fantastic group.
Okay, so last rider over the line, folks. Zhang just crossing the line now. There
Yes.
we go.
I didn't want to see me.
Yeah, no problem. I saw it on my screen. Okay, so folks, me and Andy are going to wrap it up there. We'll leave the footage running just a little bit so that we don't get chopped off. But I think I'm going to say good night to my good friend. And are we doing the same thing again tomorrow?
We are, yes.
We are. So I'll see you tomorrow, Andy. Take care.
Thanks, Derek, and thanks for the commentary. It's
No problem.
makes
See
a
you
huge
tomorrow.
difference.
Okay, bye for now.
Take care. Bye.